Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in this world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers Live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. So today we're going to go back into the first book of Samuel, chapter 23, which revolves around David saving someone known as Keilah. But also, we continue with Psycho Sal pursuing and trying to harm or murder David out of no more than jealousy. And what's funny about it is that I thought that Sal was over his jealousy back in the first book of Samuel, chapter 19. Because that was around the time that he was sending his various men to go and try to assault or kill David. And because he was around Samuel, the Spirit of God came down upon anyone trying to hurt David and prevented it from happening, including Saul's. When Saul found Samuel and David, he had the Spirit of God come upon him, at least according to the biblical text. Now, the question is, was Saul faking having the Spirit of God come upon him just because he was in the presence of Samuel? Debatable. Debatable. It's not explicitly said in the Bible, but considering that we're 4 chapters away from when that happened, which was the first book of Samuel, chapter 19, you just would think that Sal would have been like, oh, hey, God doesn't want me to kill David. Let me cut the crap. But does he do that? No. He's arrogant. And this situation, in a lot of ways, I think is a really good lesson specifically for men. Women definitely contend with jealousy too, but men often contend with jealousy in a different way than women do. And it can essentially drive them to madness because really everyone around Sal is not down with Sal's plans for the most part to kill David. Very few people are. Most of the people are a fan of David at the time. And David has done nothing to Sal. David was just an extraordinary person. So, you know, that's my little monologue before we get into the text of this chapter of the Bible. I hope all of you out there are having a good start to your week. I most definitely am. I'm really just focused on work at this point. I still want to do a few commentaries on some other projects that I'm closing up, but I might not do them. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and get started. David saves Keilah. Then they told David, behold, the Philistines are fighting against Keilah, and they are looting the threshing floors. Therefore David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I go and attack these Philistines? And the Lord said to David, go and attack the Philistines and rescue Keilah. The men of David said to him, behold, we are afraid here in Judah. How much more then if we go down to Keilah against the armies of the Philistines? Then David again inquired of the Lord, and the Lord answered him and said, arise, go down to Keilah, because I am giving the Philistines into your hand. Then David and his men went to Keilah. He fought with the Philistines and carried off their livestock, and he struck them with a great slaughter. So David rescued the inhabitants of Keilah. When Abiathar, the son of Ahimelech, fled to David at Keilah, he came down with the ephod in his hand. And notice how I pronounced those names properly today. It takes me a day or so to digest new information. All right. Sal pursues David. Okay, so now we're getting back to Psycho Sal. I probably shouldn't label him Psycho Sal, but I just hate people like this who are so freaking narcissistic that they think that they're just incapable of thinking outside of themselves or outside of their own perspective. Because that's really what the story of Sal is about. It's about a narcissist. So let's keep going. Sal pursues David. Now it was reported to Sal that David had come to Keilah, and Sal said, God has delivered him into my hand, for he is shut in by entering a town that has gates and bars. So Sal still doesn't get it. Sal thinks that God's on his side when it comes to David, whereas it's in actuality the opposite. Then Sal summoned all the people together for war to go down to Keilah to besiege David and his men. David found out that Sal was planning evil against him. So he said to Abiathar, the priest, bring the ephod near. And David said, O Lord, God of Israel, your servant has certainly heard that Sal seeks to come to Keilah to destroy the city on account of me. Will the leaders of Keilah deliver me into his hand? Will Sal come down as your servant has heard? O Lord, God of Israel, please tell your servant. And the Lord said, he will come down. Then said David, will the men of Keilah deliver me and my men into the hand of Sal? And the Lord said, they will deliver you. So David and his men, which were about 600, arose and left Keilah, and they went wherever they could go. Now it was told Sal that David had escaped from Keilah. So he halted the expedition. And David remained in the wilderness in strongholds, and dwelt in the mountains in the wilderness of Ziph. Sal sought him every day, but God did not give him into his hand. Now David saw that Sal had come out to seek his life, and David was in the wilderness of Ziph in Horish. Jonathan, the son of Sal, arose and went to David at Horish, and he strengthened his hand in God. He said to him, do not fear, for the hand of Sal my father will not find you. You will be king over Israel, and I will be next to you. Sal my father knows this. The two of them made a covenant before the Lord, and David stayed in Horish, but Jonathan went to his house. Then the Ziphites went up to Sal to Gibeah, saying, is David not hiding himself with us in strongholds in Horish on the hill of Hakilah, which is south of Jeshimon? Now, O king, come down, according to all the desire of your soul to come down, and our part will be to deliver him into the king's hand. I mean, this is so redundant at this point. This, I'm telling you, this reminds, I think that Sal was mentally ill. I'm sorry. Whether you believe in the Bible as far as Christianity is concerned from a spiritual perspective or not, you do need to look at it as a historical document. And Sal's lack of rationality, all the wasted resources he's using, the fact that David is of his own people and he wants to get rid of him just out of vanity, that's a form of mental illness. He should not be leader of these people. It really makes you parallel this situation to what's going on in politics today. It really does. I think that there's far too many mentally ill leaders. Sorry. That's just my opinion of the day, and something does need to be done about it. Maybe the AI will do something about it. Maybe the AI is just going to start analyzing every single word that's ever said by anyone within vicinity of a video camera or a microphone, and they'll be able to determine, hey, is this person mentally ill or are they not? And if so, maybe the AI can give recommendations to take the power out of the hands of the people who don't need to be in power. Let's keep going. Sal said, "Blessed are you of the Lord, for you have had compassion on me. Please go, make sure again. Investigate and see the place where his foot rests, and who has seen him there. For it has been said to me that he is very cunning. So look and learn about all the hiding places where he hides himself." And this is Sal talking, by the way. He's really trying to get people to become little detectives and find David. Meanwhile, everyone does know where David is, most likely, but they don't want to kill him. You know, it's almost like as long as they can keep Sal living a life of luxury, maybe that would like distract him from trying to go after David. And come with me and come to me with certainty, and I will go with you. And it will be that if he is in the land, then I will track him throughout all the clans of Judah. I have a feeling he's not really doing much tracking. I have a feeling he sends others out to do it. I just get the feeling that Sal himself is not incredibly hands-on at this point. I think it's more of just a campaign that he's continuing in order to try to seem like the alpha within his kingdom. So they arose and went to Ziph before Saul. But David and his men were in the wilderness of Maon, in the desert south of Jeshimon. Saul and his men went to seek him, but they told David. Therefore he came down to the rock and lived in the wilderness of Maon. And when Saul heard that, he pursued after David in the wilderness of Maon. Saul went on this side of the mountain, and David and his men on that side of the mountain. And David hurried to get away from Saul. Now Saul and his men were closing in on David and his men to capture them. But a messenger came to Saul, saying, "Hurry and go, for the Philistines have invaded the land." So Saul returned from pursuing after David, and he went against the Philistines. Therefore they called that place the Rock of Escape. David then went up from there and lived in the strongholds of Engedi. All right, so David probably could beat Saul if he really wanted to. I mean, he did beat Goliath and all, but I think that he's just kind of like, hey, maybe at some point Saul will calm down. So maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't really know much about this part of the Bible, but this is kind of an exciting story that we're getting into. So tomorrow we'll go into Samuel chapter 24, and we'll see what happens from there. Everyone have a great day. Thanks for listening. Once more, I'm Alexandra of Alexandra Mayers Live. Bye-bye.